A whoa, whoa, woo, ahem. A woo, 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 konnichiwa. Gears that grind without a spark. Machines that whisper in the dark. They speak our words, they steal our tone. But is there a mind inside the phone? It is a truly fascinating mystery that we are about to unravel together. Imagine being dropped into the dead center of a massive roaring party. Hundreds of voices, laughter, glasses clinking. Now, someone tasks you with writing down every single word you hear, and then demands that you predict the exact words of the next person walking through the door? Impossible for a mortal, yes. But for the magnificent, invisible engines we are discovering today, well, it is child's play.
So, do these machines actually understand us? I mean, do they feel our joy, our sorrow, our burning curiosity? Or are we simply witnessing the most magnificent, colossal, mind-bending sleight of hand ever conceived? Are they just playing the greatest guessing game in human history? Let us go ahead and peel back the velvet curtain. We are going to dismantle this grand illusion piece by tiny piece.
Act 1. The Magician's Props.
Every great magician relies on their props, right? You absolutely cannot conjure a dove without first hiding it in your sleeve. To understand this linguistic magic trick, we first need to inspect the microscopic, completely invisible building blocks that make the impossible, well, possible. When you write a beautiful poetic sentence, your brain sees complete whole words. But the machine? Oh no. The machine sees a terrifying, jumbled mess of letters. To survive this chaos, it has to chop language down into tiny, digestible crumbs. We call these tokens. A token is literally the absolute smallest unit of text the model can swallow. Think of it kind of like packing for a grand voyage. You could just throw all your clothes into a suitcase in a giant, chaotic pile. But to pack perfectly, you've got to roll every single shirt, every single pair of socks into neat, uniform little cylinders. Tokens are exactly those perfectly rolled garments, allowing the machine to process mountains of text with absolute mechanical precision. But here is the mind-bending twist. A token is not always a word. Take a look at how the word unbelievable literally shatters into pieces. Believ, able. Even a tiny, seemingly insignificant comma is a token. Awoo! The words break apart before our very eyes. You see? The longer your message, the more pieces it shatters into, and the longer the machine must labor in the shadows to rebuild it. But how do you give cold, lifeless numbers a soul? Computers certainly cannot feel the warmth of the word puppy. Enter the embedding. Imagine a gigantic, sprawling map of the universe, but instead of stars and planets, this map plots meaning. Words with similar souls, like dog and puppy, are placed right next to each other in this vast void. The machine records their exact coordinates as a long, long list of numbers. Think of a massive, ancient library. The books aren't just thrown on the floor, right? They have highly specific call numbers. All the books about cooking are huddled together. All the books about space are far across the room. Embeddings are basically the magical call numbers for human meaning. And when you turn meaning into numbers, bizarre, beautiful magic happens. Follow this mathematical witchcraft here. If you take the numbers for king, subtract the numbers for man, and add the numbers for woman, the machine actually calculates the exact coordinates for queen. It maps profound human concepts with cold, hard subtraction and addition. It proves the machine doesn't just read letters, it literally calculates the very essence of royalty. Act 2. The Sleight of Hand. Ooh, we leave the static props behind, my curious friends. We are moving much deeper into the shadows now. This is where we witness the magnificent way the machine weaves these shattered pieces together. Prepare yourself for the secret sauce, the attention mechanism. Imagine you are trapped at a very loud, very chaotic dinner party with 12 screaming people. You cannot possibly listen to everyone at once. So what does your brain do? It tunes out the noise and pays attention only to the conversations that actually matter to you. When the machine reads a sentence, it doesn't read left to right like a human. It looks at every single shattered token all at once in a giant web and asks, how important is this tiny piece to that tiny piece over there? It connects the clues across the chaos. And it performs this trick in two distinct ways. Self-attention. This is where the model connects the clues within the very same book. Remembering the bloody dagger from chapter 3 when it finally reaches the grand finale? And then there's cross-attention.
This is comparing two entirely different universes. It's like reading a brilliant novel in English and using cross-attention to perfectly weave its meaning into a French masterpiece. It builds a web of absolute relevance across every single syllable. 2017. That was the year everything changed. The year the grand spell was cast in a paper simply titled, "Attention is All You Need." This birthed the transformer architecture. Oh, the transformer. It allowed them to process entire sequences in parallel, swallowing whole pages in a single massive gulp.
Ahoo! Just notice the astonishing leap here. This is the context window, the AI's short-term memory span. In the early days, it could only hold a meager 4,000 tokens in its mind. Now, 200,000 tokens. That is an entire epic novel held perfectly in its temporary grasp. But beware. Think of the context window as a super-intelligent goldfish. It can compute the secrets of the universe, but the exact moment your conversation spills past that window, the goldfish forgets everything you said 50 seconds ago.
Act 3. The Prestige. We have seen the props. We have survived the sleight of hand. Now the tension mounts as we arrive at the grand finale. This is where the machine finally casts its predictive spell and speaks back to us from the void. Here is the ultimate, terrifying secret of the grand illusion. When this hyper-fast, impossibly complex machine writes its magnificent, glowing responses to you, it writes them one single, solitary word at a time. Autoregressive generation. It looks at everything you gave it, guesses just one piece, adds it to the pile, and then looks at the whole pile again just to guess the very next piece. It is exactly like a blindfolded guessing game. Imagine you say, "I am thinking of a famous person." The machine guesses, "An actor?" You say yes. It guesses based on that. "In action movies?" You say yes. It follows the trail of clues step by step until it finally shouts, "Arnold." It takes your prompt, chops it to tokens, guesses the very next token, glues it on, and repeats this chaotic dance until the sentence is completely finished. But oh, my mischievous friends, this step-by-step guessing game is fraught with peril because it relies purely on the mathematical probability of the next step. If it makes one tiny mistake early on, it builds on that mistake, careening wildly off the rails into madness. And it has no concept of truth, none. If its training data whispers that the sky is a sickening shade of neon green, it will confidently, boldly proclaim that the sky is green. And sometimes it gets trapped in endless repetitive feedback loops, echoing its own guesses for eternity, much like a runaway train caught forever on a circular track. And so we answer the great mystery we posed in the dark. Do they understand us? Do they comprehend our poetry and our pain? No, they operate without a single solitary drop of true comprehension. It is a supercharged, world-class autocomplete. It is the most sophisticated, breathtakingly brilliant guessing game in human history. It calculates the future from the echoes of the past. Let us marvel at the grand, lightning-fast symphony one last time. You speak. It shatters your words into tokens. It maps their souls with embeddings. Then, positional encoding. It numbers the steps of the recipe, so that even though it swallows the words all at once, the parallel order makes absolute perfect sense. Then, self-attention finds the deep relationships, the transformers refine the magic, and finally, it predicts, repeated in mere milliseconds. The curtain call. Commanding the machine.
Ah woo-woo. Ha ha ha. The illusion is stripped bare, the velvet curtain falls. But do not despair, because now that we know how the magic is forged in the dark, we can bend it to our very will. If you wish to command the machine, you must obey the rules of engagement. First, keep your context manageable. Do not overload your hyper-intelligent goldfish, or it will forget your most precious secrets. Second, be explicit. It cannot read your mind, it only reads your tokens. Third, do not over-ask in a single breath. If you cram too many commands into one message, the attention mechanism will absolutely choke on the chaos. Break your complex tasks into tiny, deliberate steps. Burn these ancient runes deeply, deeply into your mind. T-E-A, tokens, the shatter chunks. Embeddings, the numbers of meaning. Attention, the web of relationships. And STAR, start with your input. Tokenize and embed it, apply the attention of the transformers, repeat autoregressively until the magic is complete. Brace yourselves for the final, rapid-fire unearthing of the shadows. Tokens are fragments, embeddings map meaning. Attention weaves the web, context limits the memory,
and autoregressive generation guesses the future, step by step.
A woo-woo! A woo-woo-woo! The grand reveal is complete. If you reveled in the unmasking of this mechanical beast, then you must strike the like button. Bind yourself to this channel by subscribing and ring the bell icon to summon us from the shadows for future revelations. Leave a comment below. Tell me your favorite part, where in the world you are watching from, what mysteries we should dissect next, and any suggestions you have to improve our journey into the dark. But before we part into the night, I leave you with a lingering phantom of a question. If a machine of cold wires and math can perfectly mimic the warmth of human thought without understanding a single solitary word, what does that say about the way we think? Farewell.